Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. In this episode, we have a video clip here of Texas DPS Director Steve McCraw giving us new information and details regarding the Uvalde shooting. Furthermore, we'll have a video clip here that shows how the left truly think and feel about firearms. And at the end of this episode, I have an announcement regarding the future of the Bald Brad Show. With that being said, as always, if you want to join us here at the Bald Brad Show or heck support a conservative, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Share this link with your friends and family all over social media. Your help would be greatly appreciated. And again, with that being said, we do have a video clip here that makes the Uvalde Police Department look very, very bad. And that's me being kosher in what I'm saying. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
3 minutes after the subject entered the West Building, there was a sufficient number of armed officers wearing body armor to isolate, distract, and neutralize the subject. The only thing stopping a hallway of dedicated officers from entering room 111 and 112 was the on-scene commander, who decided to place the lives of officers before the lives of children. The officers had weapons, the children had none. The officers had body armor, the children had none. The officers had training, the subject had none. 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 8 seconds.
That's a long time. That is such a long time. I mean, even 3 minutes, any minute, any second in that situation feels like a lifetime. Over an hour is that's crazy. Just crazy.
That's how long the children waited and the teachers waited in rooms 111 to be rescued. And while they waited, the on-scene commander waited for a radio and rifles. Then he waited for shields. Then he waited for SWAT. Lastly, he waited for a key that was never needed. We do know this. There's compelling evidence that the law enforcement response to the attack at Robb Elementary was an abject failure and antithetical to everything we've learned over the last 2 decades since the Columbine massacre.
And he's not wrong with saying any of those things. And again, an hour before you go in to do your job, they received training on this prior. There was a lot of mistakes, I think, from the school itself, from the police department, from the teachers, even from getting the doors fixed for the classrooms was even a problem. And this kind of brings me to my next point here, is the idea that we're supposed to rely on the police or our government for safety. And yes, one of the main functions of our government is to protect us. The police department is supposed to protect and serve. But you can't always rely on the police. You can't always rely on others for your safety. And this is where a lot of Second Amendment advocates, including myself, come in and saying, look, I want to be able to protect myself. I want to have a firearm on me at all times, whether I'm in the public or whether I'm at work, because I don't know when a situation is going to arise, and the police might take 5 minutes. They might take 10 minutes. They might wait an hour to come in. That's too long. Minutes is too long, let alone an hour. And many of you may or may not know, I'm a high school mathematics teacher myself. And I try to envision myself in that situation in Uvalde. And I'm sitting there with a stapler, a tape dispenser, and I'm supposed to protect myself up against anybody with a weapon or firearm. Who do you think's going to win? Me with a stapler, or a tape dispenser, or a textbook, or somebody with any sort of firearm? It doesn't even matter. Just pick one. Obviously, the person with the firearm is going to win. I don't want to wait for the police. I don't want to wait for somebody to protect my life. I want to be able to protect my life in that instant, in that situation that I'm at, which is why I've been advocating for teachers to be able to carry. I understand the arguments of those against, but there's people out there that just don't get the full concept of weapons. They think it's for hunting. They don't understand what the Second Amendment's for. They don't understand that there's tyrannical governments that have gone usurpacious on their own citizens over the course of history. They don't understand the aspect of natural rights that's given to you to protect yourself. And this clip here that I want to kind of illustrate that whole idea is James Klug here at Los Angeles Park talking to somebody that's anti-gun. Now, if you haven't seen James Klug, he's from my home area. of California. The man does yeoman's work. Absolutely love him. Talked to him on Instagram before. Go over and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for his work. He does a lot of street interviews. But let's go ahead and just watch a little clip here on this anti-gun advocate talking about guns.
The question is, why a lot of at the same time. You can kill a lot of people. Why can't you just get a rifle, like a one-shot rifle?
You can do the same thing with pistols. I mean, most pistols are semi-auto.
Well, why do we need them? Why can't we just have one-shot things if you're really just protecting yourself?
Why do we need them? And I'll continue in a moment. Again, why do we need them? Look at Uvalde. You don't think a teacher at that moment in time would want a pistol, a handgun, a long rifle, a shotgun? And I'm just saying, hey, conceal and carry with a pistol, with a handgun. I'm not talking about teachers carrying rifles. I'm not talking about teachers carrying shotguns. Just a conceal and carry firearm. Glock 19, Smith & Wesson, whatever the choosing may be for that teacher. I'm sure they would have loved to be able to protect themselves and those children in that classroom at that time, rather than waiting for an hour, watching those children get slaughtered in front of other children. I think they would have liked to have protected themselves. But you get people like this that just don't understand that. Why would you ever need a firearm, you guys? Why would you ever need a firearm to protect yourself? Nuts.
From what? What do you protect yourself from?
You're asking a good question here. Just so I'm not debating something that's not your stance. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Are you advocating for banning all guns that aren't like bolt action? Is that correct?
I don't know that much about guns, but if you want a gun, if you want to go hunting and you have a rifle, go hunting. It's great. Have a one-shot rifle.
The Second Amendment wasn't in place for hunting. It's to resist against like tyrannical rule, protects your property, your loved ones, etc.
You think an individual having an assault weapon is a well-regulated militia? Where's the well-regulated part?
We keep using the term assault weapon. It's a semi-automatic rifle. Assault weapon is fully auto. Those are banned already.
A weapon that shoots a lot of bullets at the same time.
It's
in a row, without having to reload, right? That's what it is?
One trigger pull, one round. That's all it means.
What does a round mean?
Second Amendment.
Okay, so even what does a round mean? And it goes on. And again, James Klug does a fabulous job of doing street interviews, keeping things calm, keeping the conversation going. But again, the conversation that I want to have around this is advocating for people to be able to conceal and carry. And I fully understand that is able or has been authorized in many states. California, it is very hard to get a conceal and carry permit or license. It's some places you can't even do it. But I also want to be able to advocate for teachers to be able to protect themselves. And I understand the statistics on all of this, that it's very hard, or it's unlikely, I should say, to be more specific, that a mass shooting would occur at a school. Extremely rare. But that rarity still does not surpass my right to bear arms and my right to protect myself and those kids. And you can't always rely on police officers, whether it's you at work as a teacher or you on the street, you in a restaurant, a movie theater, wherever it may be, somebody trying to commit a heinous crime against you and your family. You do not have the time to wait for police officers always to show up. It takes mere seconds to pull out a gun and shoot somebody and kill them. I'll even call it 5 seconds, and that's me being reasonable. But you're supposed to wait 3 to 4 minutes for the police to come and arrive, to receive the phone call if somebody does call. And we're not just talking about Uvalde at this point. We're talking about all situations to where if you don't have a firearm to protect yourself, you're supposed to wait minutes for the police to arrive. And that's not bashing the police departments on their response time. Some of them are egregious, but you're supposed to wait minutes for them to arrive. Everything's already said and done. People are either dead, people are maybe alive, maybe somebody was saved because somebody else has a concealed carry, meaning they have a firearm, which we've seen before. So this is my response to all of this of we need more people with guns, not less people with guns. And to be even more specific than that, we need good guys with guns that trump bad guys with guns. If you know that somebody has a firearm, you're less likely to go in there and commit that crime knowing that somebody has a firearm. That's all I'm saying here. The Uvalde police, just complete failure of communication, complete failure of resources at that time. If they're waiting for shields, they were looking for a key. All that, they should have tried to go in. They should have tried to neutralize the suspect, but they wanted to wait a long time. I'm not just bashing the police. I'm bashing the specific police and the authorities that were there at that time, because there's a lot of good police officers. There's a lot of police officers that would go in. We just did a story the other day where they neutralized a suspect within 3 minutes of the event occurring. 3 minutes is still a lifetime if you're in that situation. A lot of people can be shot and killed in 3 minutes. So that's why I think the people that are present at these situations, rather than waiting 3 minutes plus for somebody to arrive to save their life, I'd rather have them with a firearm and save their own life in a matter of mere seconds. So rather than 3 to 5 minutes, I'd rather them be able to pull out a firearm in 3 to 5 seconds and neutralize that suspect on the spot, or at least make an attempt to save not just their own lives, but everybody else around them. So let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. I'm trying to keep it a little bit short here, but that moves me into my announcement for the Bald Brad Show. You'll hear the same announcement for tomorrow's episode at the very end, but I want the Bald Brad Show to be more of a podcast style. And I think you might have seen the feel of the show change a little bit with the lighting, adjusted the mic sound a little bit, adjusted the camera, and I want it to be more long form. And I know a lot of you voted on that survey. You wanted to see episodes between 5-10 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes, and those will still happen. But what I'm going to do is move into the traditional podcast style, very similar to how the show was about a year ago, where episodes are about 30 to 50 minutes in length, depending on the content. And every morning at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will still have the Bald Brad Show every single day. But if you don't want to listen to an hour-long episode, which I understand there's a lot of you that don't want to, then throughout the day, about every 3 or 4 hours, I will already have snippets of the podcast itself, meaning every story that I go over will be uploaded about every 3 hours. So throughout the day, you will get each piece of that podcast out there as its own episode. So not only will you get an hour-long episode, or roughly an hour, but you'll also get those chunks that you've already seen me do throughout the day if I'm uploading 2 to 4 times, depending on what I'm doing. The reason for that is I want to be able to reach a broader audience. That was also the direction of where I wanted the show to go. It's just been a little bit tough because, again, I work 2 to 3 jobs. So I want to push myself, and I want to bring you all value. And that's a big thing, value. I want to bring you more stories like this, especially the story that you'll hear tomorrow morning regarding illegal immigration. I want to bring you more information. I want to push myself to do more research and have more of a conversation rather than me always reacting to things, yelling into the mic, laughing. All that stuff will still be there, of course, because that's who I am as a person. But I want to more talk to you, talk to the viewer, have it be a conversation. Look at the comments and maybe incorporate those into the show. Look at videos like James Klug and still incorporate Peter Ducey destroying Karine Jean-Pierre. But again, have it be more conversational rather than reactionary, if that makes sense. If that's not the direction you want to see, or if that's not something you're interested in, that's your prerogative. But this is where I want to take the Bald Brad Show. I want to be able to have Spotify out there, podcasts where other people can meet and see the show, where conservative thought and ideas can get out there. So that's the direction of the Bald Brad Show. We're going to move into 30 to 45 minute shows, sometimes an hour, uploaded every morning. I will chop those up and have different segments uploaded throughout the day. Even in the podcast, I will have chapters for you. So if you want to hear a specific segment of that show at that time, that will be there for you as well. But again, I think this is the best direction for the show, and that's where I want to take it. I hope all of you agree and that you will still join me here on the Bald Brad Show. And if you enjoy the show, again, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Again, it really does help us grow on the show, and I always appreciate your help. With that being said, I will see you later here on the Bald Brad Show.